items of this nature. I think somebody said it, but you know, there will be no resolution related to this, no, you know, formal, I guess. Yeah, so why don't we acknowledge that this is a good question to, you know, since it's coming to our attention live, let's just move on with the meeting and acknowledge that we'll learn subsequent to this item. That sound okay?
That sounds great, and I'm gonna just not participate in the discussion for safety's sake. Thanks, everyone.
That sounds good. Okay, thank you.
Well, Tom and Ash, you're welcome to start your presentation. Thanks for being here.
Hello, everyone. Good to see some familiar names and faces. Just logistically, should I pull up the PowerPoint, or is that?
Yeah.
Do you have it at y'all's end?
You can do it from your end if you want one of us to pull it up and advance it. I'm happy to help out, but
Cool. Yeah, I can pull up on my end, and then yeah, we can just kind of go from there. So this new layout is definitely throwing me off. Hopefully I get this.
You got it.
Sweet.
Good job.
All right. So yeah, I feel like this is a somewhat good transition to talk a bit, like to transition from OVP's piece into our work. This is definitely diving into a bit more of that cross-department, intergovernmental piece, while having our streets as a community partner in this space. And so we're here to talk a bit about the Walk, Bike, and Roll Audit Framework pilot. It's a project that's being funded through the Minneapolis Health Department, specifically through our SHIP team, or our Healthy Living team. And with that, the funding is just through this year, and it's $30,000 to work on, at this point, 3 identified projects to address walking, biking, and rolling barriers. So with that, this definitely came about. Sorry, I think I pulled up the wrong one. This project came about from work that I believe Matthew was in on a little bit. Collaboration between the Minneapolis Health Department and Public Works, holding walking audits at Minneapolis public housing high-rises. And so with those walk audits, they actually identified a lot of great barriers for the residents at the Minneapolis public housing high-rises. For the most part, it was working a lot with seniors or residents with disability, or folks who needed walking mobility devices. And so from 2014 up until it's still ongoing now, we're still somewhat holding these walking audits, as well as extracting some information and moving those into kind of like possible actionable items to be addressed. Beyond that, so that leads us to like the work today. And so this project definitely stemmed from some initial ideas around like how can we make the impact of this work a lot bigger than just like just working with MPHA high-rises, like while continuing to support those folks, like how do we do this thing better? And so through that conversation, we came up with this idea to put together a walk, bike, roll audit pilot for 2021. And with this, we put out the RFP a few months back, and through that open process, we were able to identify our streets as a partner, the community partner in this space. Sorry, I don't think. Let me stop sharing and try to refine what I have. I think this should be the right one. Maybe. Maybe not. Do y'all see what?
Tom, we see exciting walk, bike, roll project.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
That's I think that's where I should be now. Okay, awesome. Technical pieces are set up. So yeah, that leads us to where we are currently. And so with that, we're the goal is really to have this really be an opportunity to like really work internally and systemically with public works, and at the same time bring in community voice into the space to essentially hold us accountable for the engagement work, as well as like kind of everything that we say we're supposed to be doing just within this this project. And so Ash, Heather, and Matthew, I don't know if y'all want to add any of your comments about like what excites you about this project before I move on to like letting all the partners talk a little bit about their roles.
Ash, do you want to go first? Or
Sure.
do you want me to?
Can you hear me, Matthew?
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah. So thanks everybody for having us on at this meeting. And the thing that I'm most excited about this project is really the collaboration between Public Works, Public Health, and a community organization. You know, historically, we've seen transportation decisions being made somewhat, you know, somewhat by in a non-transparent manner. And this, I think, really kind of lays out the process to directly take community feedback and integrate it into a real project that will happen as designated in the click over the next few years. And so that's what's really exciting for me. I think it kind of transforms the public engagement process, brings various departments together, and really helps you know, make sure that the voices of those who've historically been left out are integrated. And so yeah, I really appreciate that, you know, Public Works and Public Health are doing this together, and are really excited to be part of it. So thank you.
I'll maybe add a little bit and try not to be too repetitive. I'm very excited about this. I feel like this is something that I've been working on with the health department for many years, including back when Sarah Stewart was with the city and doing the walk, bike, roll audits with the high-rise residents. And just the part that sort of feels new and exciting to me is self-reflection within my department on engagement, so within Public Works on engagement, and trying to use this and some other efforts that we have internally to remove some of the urgency of project engagement. And so what I mean by urgency is, as you all know, with the engineering projects, we have a relatively small window for engagement. And so it typically involves PAC, BAC, neighborhood groups, you know, some of those traditional groups, and we sort of hear from the same people, and it's all urgent. Like, we need to hear from you this month because we're going to make a decision next month. And so this is kind of a nice, like, I'm very excited about this from that sort of non-urgent, maybe including more people like Ash talked about, and actually connecting that to project decisions in the future. So that's a little bit why I'm excited.
I just want to chip in really quickly to add to that. Something that's really exciting to me about this collaboration between all of these different organizations and the approach is that we're really working to focus on this as a pilot that can be expanded. So we're going to be doing a robust evaluation throughout, including this part where we're just starting to talk about it and starting to develop the process. We'll be evaluating the process for how it looks to collaborate between two city departments and an external organization. And we'll also be evaluating the outcome of this. Does this work as a way to engage people in communicating their input on a project as it's happening? And do we have the process in place to receive that information and use it to make decisions? So I'm really excited because we're not just kind of thinking through partnership and thinking through the implementation, but really using this as an opportunity to try a lot of different things and be robust about how we're recording whether or not those go well. So I'll kick it back to you, Tom.
All right. So yeah, with those different pieces, obviously, like the three collaborating partners are super excited about it. And then within those spaces, we're obviously leading very different components. I can give a quick rundown and then pass it over to the direct partners to talk a bit more about it. And so with our streets, they're going to be leading a lot of the community components. So leading the engagement to recruiting for the walk, bike, and roll audits themselves. Public health is funding the pilot project this year for 2021. And then throughout the process, as Heather mentioned, we're going to continue to evaluate this pilot. And then with Public Works, Matthew and the CIP team have done an amazing job in identifying what sort of projects fit within the scope that we're trying to focus on. And Matthew, you can definitely expand on that a little bit more. And then also figuring out ways in which we can incorporate that feedback from the audits into the process itself. So yeah, just kind of a quick recap of the different roles that the partners have for the project. And then, yeah, I'll pass it on to Ash for just any sort of like thoughts, ideas, more information on your work and your organization.
Yeah, thank you, Tom. And so, sorry, I don't know if I introduced myself. My name is Ash Narayan, and I'm the Executive Director of Our Streets Minneapolis. We are a local nonprofit that works on making the city better for people biking, walking, and rolling. And yeah, like I said, we're really thrilled to partner with the city on this project. And so a lot of our work is based on grassroots community organizing to get people in the city excited about, active transportation options, and to essentially tell our elected officials and decision makers that we'd like to see more investment in those modes in the city. And so what we are bringing to this project is our grassroots network of volunteers and supporters who we hope will help provide real lived experiences to the city that they can then take and use in transportation decision making on what kind of what the project will ultimately look like. We particularly want to focus on those who've historically been left out of transportation decision making, Black, Indigenous people of color, people with disabilities, people who are trans or gender nonconforming. And we will do that through our existing database of folks who have engaged with us on efforts in the past, with the relationships that we have with organizations throughout the city, and with folks who might generally be interested in participating in this project. So we will get the word out to the community. We will facilitate, in partnership with both Public Works and Public Health, the actual audits themselves, and we'll help collect information and data that can then be relayed back to the designers of projects. So we really hope that this kind of is just a first step in kind of rethinking what, as Matthew was describing, the public works engagement process can be. We hope that this project will really be an example and a paradigm for, you know, a much more collaborative, holistic engagement process that really kind of takes a look at you know, who has been left out, what we can do to kind of make sure that we build a more equitable transportation system and make sure that the voices of folks who've been left out are really prioritized. Yeah, I think that's all I had, and I can turn it back over to you, Tom.
Awesome. Thanks, Ash. And then, yeah, just in terms of public health, Heather, I'm sure you can definitely do this a lot better, but just through our funding through the Statewide Health Improvement Partnership, we're working on policy systems and environmental changes. And so through that lens, we're getting to work in the active living bucket around those PSE changes. And then like kind of just in that realm, and through a lot of Sarah's work and Matthew's work, we've been able to partner in a lot of different spaces, not only MPHA, but some of the Northside Greenway work. And so there's been a lot of like innovative opportunities for us to explore and find like new and creative ways to not only address infrastructure change, but also figure out ways to engage community folks within that system or that process itself. So that's kind of coming from our public health lens. Heather, I don't know if you want to add anything else to that.
No, I think that's great, Tom. My most excited part of this around the evaluation, I think I shared earlier. So pretty good.
Awesome. And then, yeah, with public health or public works, as the last partner, Matthew, do you want to share a little bit about how the CIP team is playing into this and your role in this?
Yeah, you know, I don't have much to add for this one. In a few slides when we talk about the CI projects, I can maybe add a little bit more. I'll just say the part I talked about, the non-urgent engagement, is a part of how we'll incorporate feedback into the CIP process, and we're going to learn and see how that works as a part of this pilot. But yeah, in a few slides we'll actually talk about the specific projects that were selected so far.
Definitely. So yeah, so that definitely leads to kind of how, like, what is it that we're going to be doing with this walk, bike, and roll audit? And so we came about this pilot project really focusing on 4 goals. And the first goal was really to build a pilot project to implement the walk, bike, and roll audit within this year, hoping to develop really a tool to identify and address barriers within accessibility or within public spaces. Goal number 2 is really develop a partnership between the city and a local organization to assist with implementing the audits. Goal 3 is to have local organization recruit and train community ambassadors to participate in the walk, bike, and roll audits. And so those community ambassadors can just be any community volunteers or leads or anyone who is just passionate about the spaces that we're going to be operating in within using this walk, bike, and roll framework. And then goal number 4 is to evaluate the effectiveness of the project for future opportunities to use this tool. So there is a goal for like a what next, a longevity for continuing this framework. So that leads to like kind of the plan for the engagement and the plan for the work itself. So as the planning team, we're still solidifying a lot of these details. And definitely we're going to have formal invites to you all as we solidify all the events and all of the activities. But right now, these are the projects that we have identified along with some of the tentative dates. So I'll give a few minutes to just have everyone look it over, and then
Tom, I may say a few things
yeah,
too. So
absolutely.
part of how we actually put a decent amount of time discussing what type of projects make sense for this work. We wanted, when we say CIP projects, we're talking about a range of construction, right? And so we wanted projects that are not so close to being constructed that we've already done all of the engagement, and so they're like, are there limited opportunities for engagement? And we don't want them so far away that people that participate may feel like they just like forgot about the project, or it's so far away that it doesn't seem real. And so we looked through that lens and a variety of other things. And what we landed on is 3 different project types. So First Avenue South is going to be a reconstruction project, so fully reconstruct the right of way. And then the second one, 34th Ave North and 4th Street North, that's what we call a Safe Routes to School project. That you've all seen those types of projects before. So that'll be, bicycle boulevard treatments and crossing improvements along routes to school. And then 35th and 36th Ave South, that project is part of a Vision Zero safety project that'll utilize quick build safety improvements. So that's another cool aspect of this, I think, is we're going to get an opportunity to look at different project types and just see how that works as well. Tom, back to you.
Yeah. So yeah, thanks for clarifying like kind of the timeline and giving a little bit of detail on the projects themselves. And so for the dates, we talked it through a little bit with the team, and these are the tentative dates as far as the availability of our streets as well as public health and public works. But as soon as those dates get solidified, we'll let you all know when and where exactly the audits will be happening. So that kind of comes towards the end here. And so Heather, I may kick it to you for this evaluation piece. I don't know if you want to like just pose this now and have follow-ups individually later, or like kind of pose more of an open question and conversation space.
Yeah, when we were pulling together this PowerPoint, we really just included here some amended questions that are the process evaluation questions for our current leadership committee. So making sure that everyone has kind of a chance to think about strategically, does this make sense? And these are maybe some prompts to make sure everyone understands all the different components of this project. I'd be happy to follow up with anybody who has further questions or to track down answers if some of these things are not clear as we move forward. So we just wanted to be transparent in how we're thinking about this right now too, and checking in with ourselves and giving all of you the same opportunity to answer those questions as we move along.
Awesome. So yeah, that pretty much concludes our piece about the walk, bike, and roll audit. At this point, yeah, we're just opening it up to any questions, comments, thoughts, ideas, and yeah, Ash, Matthew, and Heather, feel free to chime in or ask questions as well.
Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, so there's tentative dates here, and I imagine the August 26th relates to First Avenue South and 34th is Project 2, and 35th and 36th are Project 3. Could you, is this like a one-night affair, or is it, what does the Project 1 and the date mean? 5 to 7:30. Are you planning for a one night, or is there more to this, or?
So we haven't quite attached the dates to the locations yet. So they're not straight line across. We are thinking of doing this in just one event per space. There will be a separate online opportunity for people to take a look at pictures, to like virtually walk the route and to leave comments on a comment map. But we'll only have one in-person walk, bike, and roll audit, multiple groups running at the same time. So there will be individual attention and intention around collecting people's feedback. But unfortunately, because it's a pilot and because of the amount of money and availability we have on a time scale, we're only going to be able to do one per.
Dan's question made me think I should clarify something that may be really important. This is an event, and we're trying this out. We're going to see how it works. But I also want to make it clear, each of these projects will also have a very typical design and engagement process that starts very soon. That starts after this. So I just want to make that clear in case that wasn't. So this will be, an event. We're going to learn from it. Hopefully the idea is it goes really well this year, and we continue doing it, and that it becomes sort of this process that we can build to do with maybe every capital project. I don't know if that's ambitious or not. But what this may also do is sort of build a base of either support, or at least people that are going to be interested in the typical design process that will follow. So this is not a replacement for other engagement or anything like that. This is more like a new and different way to try engaging around projects. And we hope to have the expected project manager from Public Works for these projects. We hope that we can identify who that is and have them participate in the audit as well, although that's not necessarily guaranteed. But that could be a nice way to sort of build the relationships with the project manager that will lead that design and engagement effort.
This is a related question, perhaps maybe connected with this, but probably not. What is the status for bike counts this year throughout the city?
We're still kind of figuring that out, frankly. I'll likely have some updates soon. This is maybe a bigger topic to get into separately, but we are phasing out the volunteer 2-hour counts just based on research and the fact that statistically the margin of error is very high, like sometimes as high as 100% or more on those. And so when you're trying to use it to do like comparative analysis, it's not necessarily the greatest source, so it has some limited effectiveness. But I'd be happy to talk more about that. And as we kind of like transition to the future of the count program, that's definitely something I want the BAC to weigh in on. So we'll have more on that.
Are people excited about this? I hope you are, because it's going to be really cool. I wish we were in a room. I wish we were in a room together so I could gauge like everyone.
Philip's got his hand up.
No.
Oh, good. Okay, Philip.
No. I love walking audits. I think they're extremely powerful, and they so engage and lock in what becomes then ongoing, participation of people. But just to clarify, so the sense is the walking audits would be happening at the sort of 5 to 10% design level?
No, actually, I would say pre 0%.
Pre,
So
okay.
so what we know in this group, right, is project design from 0%, meaning like project managers assign, they bring a one pager to you, they say, here's what we know about the project, it's gonna be reconstructed in this year, it's the extents are A to B, you know, here's the crashes, that type of thing that you're used to. That has not happened yet on these projects, and that will happen. So this is like so think of like what I just described as let's say year 0. I don't know what, you know, year 1. Let's just say year 1. This is year 0, right? So the idea, at least in my mind, is that this type of thing, for now anyway, happens before a formal process kicks off, and maybe we change that in the future where we think it makes more sense, you know, in that 0 to 30%. But no, for now, like zero design work has happened on these projects.
Okay.
Officially.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, that's great. No, I think that's fabulous.
And one thing I want to note that is I think special about this project is, and Phil, you know from your experience at MPCA about walk audits, like a lot of times walk audits are done fully removed from the, you know, the road authority, from Public Works, right? And
Yeah.
then like a big part of the walk audit is trying to figure out how do you get the attention of the road authority? How do you get like who's going to connect with the engineers? Like maybe you invite an engineer just to like try to get them to know, you know. So like I just think that's a special aspect of this where it's like Public Works is like will be involved in this from the front and like directly incorporated into the work. And so I'm going to say that.
Okay, great. Yeah.
Already.
Yeah. Wish you all good vibes and good luck on this program, and it'll be really fun to see what comes about it.
Yeah, definitely want to
Thank
say
you all.
yeah, appreciate you all for the time and for listening. Yeah, if you have any follow-up questions, yeah, Matthew and Heather are definitely very involved in the project, and so I'll for sure pass on any questions if they have any.
The last thing I'll say is that, you know, we haven't really determined like if, when, or how we'll bring back information to the BAC on this, but we definitely will. Just need to figure out like when that makes sense, you know, if we need more feedback or if we're reporting back how it goes, you know, that kind of thing. We'll definitely keep you all in the loop on that.
Thanks again. Well, it's 5:35. I'm all for calling it and doing the tap next month.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I don't think there's any need to force it.
Cool. So Maya will take next month to go over a section of the bicycling section. So we can put it together, and then Phil will be in September. So, well, thanks everybody. I'm glad it's raining, even though I'm very warm still. But yeah, have a wonderful week and see you all later.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.